My relevant person is Clara Barton. She is the founder of the American Red Cross, as well as she was an educator and a great humanitarian. You must never so much think as whether you like it or not, whether it is bearable or not. You must never think of anything except the need and how to meet it. That was a direct quote that she lived by for all of her 90 years. She began her nursing career at age 11 by treating her brother David, who had had a barn raising accident, and she treated him for 2 years until he was fully recovered and able to be on his own again. She then decided that she would go into the profession of education. At age 15, she graduated with a teaching certificate and began teaching in North Oxford, Massachusetts. She taught there for 15 years, moved at that point to New Jersey, and opened up a free school for children there. She fought with the committee in New Jersey, Bordentown, New Jersey, to have this committee let her open a free school. She said she would teach free for a year. She taught free for that first year and went from having no pupils when she started to 600 when the school year ended. So she was quite a successful teacher. She was a trauma nurse during the Civil War. She would go out onto the battlefield and pull men in, help them get to where they need to be, to the doctors, to the surgeons. She would triage them and treat them on the field if she had to. At one point, she had a shot go through the sleeve of her dress into the man she was working on, who unfortunately died from that shot. But she was considered the angel of the battlefield by the surgeons she worked with and the soldiers that she worked with. In March of 1865, she was appointed by President Lincoln to find and site graves of missing soldiers and missing men, try and identify them to give their families closure. She found over 22,000 missing men in grave sites. At that time, she testified in front of Congress about the freed slaves and that they were not being informed that they were free and were still being used as slaves, and the conditions in the Confederate prison camp of Andersonville, where Union soldiers were being held. She was very ill after this, and she went to Europe, where she met with a committee of 5 that ran the International Committee of the Red Cross. She liked their ideas so much, she served with them during the Strasbourg-Franco-Prussian War in 1871 and brought those ideas of the Red Cross back to the United States, lobbied for them, and at age 60 in 1881 began missions for the American Red Cross. Some of her more famous missions were the forest fire in Michigan in 1881, flooding in Johnsontown, PA in 1889, helping Americans in Turkish-controlled Armenia in 1896, and her very last mission that she went on personally was in 1900 Galveston, Texas. It was to help hurricane victims. She resigned from the American Red Cross in 1904, and in 1905 established the First Aid Association of America, the National First Aid Association of America. This was to teach people first aid and emergency preparedness. She was the principal person, the president there until 1910. She died 2 years later in 1912 in her home in Glen Echo, Maryland. At age 90, Clara Barton was a woman who had helped and advocated for so many others. She had many names: Miss Barton, the angel of the battlefield, humanitarian, teacher, nurse. She was a great lady who spent most of her 90 years of service to others. Clara Harlow Barton is a woman who deserves admiration of the generations for her courage, compassion, and selfless efforts. Thank you.